Last week, Louisiana's 4 Republican representatives in the House voted to overturn the election results, and today they again backed the president against articles of impeachment. Still, back at home, law enforcement is bracing for protest. Devin Bartolotta reports.
I oppose this rushed impeachment brought forward without a single hearing.
House Republicans from Louisiana all voted no to impeaching President Trump Wednesday.
It will only serve to further divide a nation that is calling out for healing.
Last Wednesday's evidence of a divided nation brought bipartisan outrage and support to end Trump's presidency. Democrat Cedric Richmond asked Republicans to defend the Constitution.
Some of my colleagues, some of which may well be co-conspirators, in their latest attempt to placate and please this unfit president, suggest that we shouldn't punish Trump for his actions in order to unify the country. That is the climax of foolishness.
Attorney General Jeff Landry condemned Wednesday's riot at the Capitol in a letter to the Justice Department, tweeting, quote, "Together we can lead in unity and peace." But state capitals in all 50 states, including Louisiana, are prepping for large pro-Trump demonstrations this weekend. Louisiana State Police said it, quote, "will have personnel in place to ensure a safe environment." And the Louisiana National Guard tells Eyewitness News it is prepared to answer any call. In the hours after his impeachment, President Trump discouraged more violence.
Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement. Making America great again has always been about defending the rule of law, supporting the men and women of law enforcement, and upholding our nation's most sacred traditions and values.
But for many in Washington, it's too little, too late.
Simply put, we told you so.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Richmond out.
Devin Bartolotta, Eyewitness News.